What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, according to Roger Goodell and the NFL training camp is supposed to kick off on July 28th. So we only have 2 more weeks to go. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it, but we only have 2 more weeks until training camp starts and then the season starts and football is finally back. Now, obviously, we don't know how it's going to go with the pandemic, but if everything stays on schedule, it will start in just 2 weeks. And the Detroit Lions, just like every other NFL franchise, is going to have their position battles, going to have their roster battles for who's going to get a certain position on the team, who's going to start, who's going to be the backup, and who's going to make the team in general. And that is what I want to talk about today is, the top roster battles, the top camp battles for the Detroit Lions going into this 2020 training camp. Now, these are all, these are not in any particular order, but these are just these are the camp battles that I thought were going to be the most impactful for the Detroit Lions, no matter who wins and loses them. So with that being said, let's get into the video. But if you are new to the channel and are enjoying the content, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes 2 seconds of your day to make mine, and I would be very, very appreciative to everybody that chooses to do so. But with that being said, let's get into talking about the top 3 camp battles for this upcoming training. Now, before we do get into it, I do have 2 honorable mentions. These are positions that I think obviously have a big position battle, but I don't think the outcome is necessarily going to have the biggest impact on the franchise. Now, the first honorable mention is the running back position, the starting running back. Obviously, we have Kerryon Johnson versus DeAndre Swift, which is a big battle, but I do think no matter who wins this battle, they're still going to share touches. They're still going to get a lot, no matter who's starting the game and who is the backup for the game, they're still both going to get a ton of touches. They're still both going to contribute massively for this team. So I don't think it really matters who the starter is, because they're both going to share touches and they're both going to get a lot of them. And then the second one is the backup defensive tackle. You have guys like John Penisini, Kevin Strong, and Nick Williams. A lot of backup guys are late round draft guys that you don't really know who's going to start. But again, I don't know how impactful the backup defensive tackle is going to be for the Detroit Lions. And I think that whether we have John Penisini or Nick Williams in there, I don't think it's going to be great. So, I think that will be a battle for the backup position, but I don't think it's going to have the biggest impact. So, getting into the first camp battle that I think will have a huge impact on the Detroit Lions organization this year is the starting guard spot. Now, we have guys contending for this position like Oday Aboushi, Joe Dahl, Joshua Garnett, Jonah Jackson, and Logan Stenberg. 2 of those players did play for the Detroit Lions last year, that being Oday Aboushi, who had played in 143 snaps for the Detroit Lions, committed 1 penalty, and gave up 0 sacks, and Joe Dahl, who played in 798 snaps for the Detroit Lions last year, committed 2 penalties, and gave up 3 sacks. So, you don't really know who's going to win this position battle. This is probably the biggest question mark on the offensive line as a whole. We obviously have only 2 guys. Joshua Garnett is a former first-round pick, but has been very injury-prone throughout his NFL career. And then we have 2 rookies in Logan Stenberg and Jonah Jackson, who, you just don't know how they're going to transition to the NFL. Now, I do think that Jonah Jackson is going to win the first starting guard spot, whether that be on the left or the right tackle, or left or right guard. He can play both. He did one at Rutgers. He did the other one at Ohio State. So he's proven that he can do both, and he played very well at both positions. So I have confidence in him that he's going to be the starting guard day 1 for the Detroit Lions, whether that be on the right or the left side. And I think the other one, week 1, is going to be Joe Dahl. Now, I say that because he played in 798 snaps last year, almost 800 snaps, a very decent amount, and played okay. Obviously, 2 penalties and 3 sacks given up is not ideal, but it's not horrible. It's not the worst on the team by any means. It's not, horrible, I wouldn't say. It's not horrible by any means, but I do think he starts there just because he has a little bit more experience than a guy like Oday Aboushi in this offense. He played more than him last year, so why would he not play more than Oday this year? And, I think that he will start the season as the other guard, but I think halfway through the season, I think by week 8 or 9, Logan Stenberg will take over at that other guard position. So we have Frank Ragnow in the middle, the 2 rookies at guards, and then Taylor Decker and Big V at the tackle positions. I think Logan Stenberg needs a little bit of time to polish up. I think he needs a little bit of time to clean up his penalties, his pass blocking, but 8 weeks under Matt Patricia and an offensive line coach in the NFL, is going to help him polish. It's going to help him clean up his penalties and his hand usage. And, by week 8, he's going to be ready to take over for Joe Dahl and be the full-time starter at that other guard position for the Detroit Lions, solidifying the interior of the offensive line. Now moving on to the second camp battle, this is depth wide receiver. And you might say, why is depth wide receiver so important? How is it going to have such a big impact? And, just because we have the first three guys, like only one of our wide receivers last year played in every game. So this depth at wide receiver, we have a lot of it, which is good, but we're going to need it because, Marvin Jones has not played in 16 games the last couple of years. Amendola did not make it through 16 games last season. So we need these depth guys to step up if injury does occur. And we have a lot of guys contending for the spot. We have guys like Jamal Agnew, Geronimo Allison, Quintez Cephas, Travis Fulgham, Marvin Hall, Chris Lacey, Victor Bolden. We have all these guys. We have all these guys out here that are contending for spots, contending for roster spots and playing time. And we don't really know how it's going to go. I mean, it's a very good thing to have all these weapons for Matthew Stafford. It's great to have all this depth at wide receiver, but not everybody's going to make the team and not everybody is going to get playing time. Now, Marvin Hall is the only player Marvin Hall is the only given here. He averaged 37.3 yards of reception in 2019, which led the NFL, in yards per reception. Chris Lacey and Travis Fulgham played a little bit last year, but didn't do anything super impressive. Jamal Agnew is just transitioning to wide receiver. Geronimo Allison is a newcomer from the Packers, and Quintez Cephas is a rookie. So I think Geronimo Allison does, get that fifth receiver spot. I think he's a big body guy. He can win jump balls. He's pretty young. I think the Detroit Lions brought him in to kind of be the backup if injuries do occur, that he can step in and kind of replace a big body guy like Marvin Jones. Or, if Kenny Galladay does get hurt, he can step in and play a similar role. And then I think the sixth wide receiver, as I do think the Detroit Lions will carry six, is going to be Quintez Cephas. I really like him as a rookie. I like his play style. I like his mentality. He works hard. He grinds out every single day. And I think that work ethic is going to impress the coaches and Matt Patricia. And I think that he's going to make a great impact for this Detroit Lions team. Even as the sixth wide receiver, I still think he gets a decent amount of targets, and when he gets targets, he's going to make the most of it because this guy is just a competitor. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, he's not the most athletically gifted person, but this guy is a competitor. He's going to fight and scratch and claw to win every single rep that he can, and I think he makes this roster as the sixth. I think he makes the wide receiver room. I think he makes the team as the sixth wide receiver on the roster, leaving Jamal Agnew, Travis Fulgham, and Chris Lacey off the team, or at least off the active rosters by week 1. And then the final position battle, I'm going to say, is starting linebacker. Now, I know we have problems at defensive line, but, we know Trey Flowers is going to start. We know Danny Shelton is going to start. We're pretty solid there, as far as I think. We know Deshaun Hand is going to get a lot of playing time. And I don't think there's a lot of competition for starting reps on that defensive line because the depth isn't great. But the linebacking core is a very different story. Now, we're pretty confident that Jamie Collins and Jelani Tavai are going to get adequate playing time. Jelani Tavai showed a lot of really good things in his rookie season, and we just paid Jamie Collins a big money to come over from New England to be the leader, be the, captain, be the leader that the Detroit Lions defense needs in the middle. So I think he's going to play a lot. He's a playmaker. He did a lot of good things at New England, and I think he will, transition that over to Detroit. But then you have other contenders for the spot like Jared Davis, Christian Jones, Reggie Ragland, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Jason Kambinda, Elijah Lee, and Julian Okwara, of course. Now, obviously, Jared Davis and Christian Jones are the only people on that list who did play for the Detroit Lions last season. Jared Davis had 63 total tackles, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 4 tackles for loss, while Christian Jones had 51 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. I really don't like Christian Jones, and I don't think he is going to start. I think we brought in enough linebacker talent to, help replace him, whether that be Jared Davis moving to the outside to replace Christian Jones, which I really, really hope happens, and, leaving somebody else in the middle like a Reggie Ragland, or maybe we move Jamie Collins inside to play that role. I think that Jared Davis gets one of those starting spots, and I think Julian Okwara gets the other. I think he's going to take over as that Jack role, that Devon Kennard role if we do not sign anybody else. He just seems to be the best fit for that position at the moment. So I think our starting linebackers are going to be Jared Davis, Jelani Tavai, and Jamie Collins in the middle, and then hopefully Julian Okwara on the outside rushing the passer from that Devon Kennard-esque role. So let me know if you guys think about any other camp battles. Those are the 3 that I thought would be very impactful and very competitive this training camp. But obviously there are a ton of other ones. This team is no shortage of competition this year in training camp for starting positions, backup positions, and playing time. If I did miss a camp battle that you think is going to be huge and very impactful for this franchise going into the 2020 season, leave that down in the comments down below. But these are the 3 that I thought were the most impactful, or that will be the most impactful no matter who wins the position that they are going for. So if I did miss something, or you think there are more positions, different positions that are more impactful, leave that down in the comments below. But that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If there is Lions news before tomorrow, I'll obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that is all I have for you guys today. As I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Thank you all so very much for watching this video, and I will see all of you in the video tomorrow. Bye, guys.